Hey, Wasabi family. Welcome to Algin Gardens. I'm Karen, and today this is not going to be too long, I guess. But we're just going to talk about onions. I'm going to be doing onion seeds, not onion sets today. A couple different seeds actually. I'm going to do some artichoke seeds as well. But mainly onions and herbs, few herbs, cilantro, parsley in particular, different types of onions, bunching onions, yellow onions, white onions, red onions. But I kind of just wanted to kick this year off with some seeds starting. So I'm going to show you the mix that I'm using. I'm going to show you how I sow my seeds for bulbing onions and bunching onions. They're kind of the same. But then what I do later on, and we'll track that as we do more videos later on this growing season. But you'll see how I plant them start to finish. So we'll kind of start this series off, seed starting series off with onions. It's January here. This is what I start. I am in zone 7B, North Carolina. So I am growing short date onions. If you're not sure of the difference, I would implore you to research depending on where you are in the country or in the hemisphere or located zone wise is what kind of onions or will determine what kind of onions you grow, right? For instance, I'm in North Carolina here in the US, so I grow short day. I can get away with some intermediate onions, so I'm pushing the envelope by growing shallots here. But if I were back where I'm originally from in New Jersey, I would be growing long day onions. So just so you kind of get the idea, I'm growing Texas grano instead of Walla Wallas, if that makes sense, right? So I'm growing short date onions, onions that I know are specifically for South, the South, because that's where I am now. I'm doing bunching onions, doing some chives, garlic chives, and regular chives. So we're gonna get those seeded, show you my starting mix, all that good jazz. For my starting mix, I kind of make it myself, so I have it in a bucket here. What I do, or bin rather, so what I do is I take cocoa core with perlite, and I will take some potting soil, but I'll sift the potting soil. I have a green round sift that I can kind of get the big chunks out of it because you want your seed starting mix to be as fluffy as possible so that the roots and the early development of the plant are not hindered because you got big chunks of wood chips that it has to go around. I'm not saying that it can't grow, but we're just trying to make it the best possible environment, especially because we're doing indoor seeds or seeding. So stay tuned. Hope you enjoy. Please, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments and I'll try to answer as best as I can from my knowledge. I am not a professional. I just do what I know to do best, what works for me. And I try to pass that knowledge along for those that may be coming along or just want to hang out with me, which I'm cool too. So don't forget to share, like, subscribe. We would love to have you here on Algin Gardens, but let's get to it. So I wanted to bring you in a little bit closer. I've got some trays that I need to fill up, but I want to show you the texture of this. It's soft, and this is moist. It's not wring out moist, but if you hold it together, it'll stay together. But it also can crumble easily so that your roots can grow pretty fairly well, right? If you don't sift it, and sift it well, you'll end up with big chunks like this, and that can block your seeds from sprouting or starting properly if you have too much of this in there. So you kind of want to get the big chunks out if possible. Um, but for the most part, this is all just a fine mix that's really crumbly, really loose, really lightweight. So this is good perfect for seed starting. Again, I did this myself. This is a mix of cocoa coir, some seed mix that I sifted, and then I heated all of that up with boiling water just to sterilize it so I don't bring fungus gnats all in the house. Once that was done, I added some perlite, which is the white chunks in here that helps with drainage, and a little bit of vermiculite to help with water retention. It's kind of, if you can see my hand, I'm not sure if it's like the gold flecks in there. That kind of is what helps the soil retain its moisture. And that's pretty much it. That's a good mix. So how I do it, I just fill these up so that the soil is to the bottom, and I give it a quick press just to kind of make sure I'm getting soil to all corners. I don't want a hard press, just a nice light press, just to make sure soil is kind of blocking up, if that makes sense. I do use soil blocks. I have those. I want to do this a little bit different for the onions, though. Soil blocks I'll probably use for my larger plants, just the size of block that I have. So there you go. That's one, and we got 6 more to go.
Hey, so we are here. Sorry about the audio, I lost it on these live clips, but we're going to walk you through it, talk it up. Again, if you have any questions, please let me know. We're going to start off in the allium family once again with the chives. I've got garlic chives and regular onion chives, which I love using in my cooking. And what we're going to do as we're opening up this pack here, I'm going to show you what these seeds look like. Onion seeds in particular are very tiny. They, because they are that tiny, I'm actually going to broadcast in each cell. I'm going to put about three, four, maybe even five, six seeds, and we're going to watch them germinate. Hopefully, most of them do germinate. And then what I will do is once they get about 6 inches tall, I will actually split them apart so that they're in their own cell to be transplanted outside. One thing I want to tell you, onions in particular are very forgiving. They don't mind their root systems being rustled and tussled. In general, they have very shallow roots. Um, but the contrast to that is that they are heavy feeders of a lot of nitrogen. So we're going to make sure that we're feeding them the entire way. But I like to broadcast. I'm doing it a little bit different this year. Last year, I just started off in one container, like Chinese food container. I think one of them I did was like an old big carton or empty container of country crock, and I converted that into a seed starting area that I just kind of used to broadcast all of my onion seeds of that variety or all of my leek seeds of that variety into one tray. That's what I did. What I wanted to show, or what you just saw, was me actually making sure that my seeds that I placed in each tray, or each cell rather, were moistened with my spray bottle. There's water in that. And then I go over each of those cells with a light layer of vermiculite. What that does is that will help it retain moisture, it will also allow them, when they sprout, to not have to fight so hard to get to the light, which is what we want. If I were not using vermiculite, I'm not saying you have to use vermiculite. If I weren't using vermiculite, I would just take a light dusting of the actual seed starting mix that I'm using, place that right over the top, and go on about my business. This is just something that I do. I found it very helpful last year, so I continue to do it. I don't necessarily do it with all of my seeds. For instance, my cucumber seeds and squash seeds, they germinate rapidly. So I don't worry about trying to keep the soil as moist for as long. You will also see that I am going to use later on a humidity dome on top of these. So this is just, me trying out a new method. Labeling, please label, please label. You will regret it later trying to remember what you planted. I don't care if you use the tags, those tags came free. That's a new tray set that I'm just trying out that has the little lights on top. Thought it was cute, and I had a gift card for my job, so I just used it and got this off of Amazon. There is nothing wrong with just using soil blocks or the 72 trays, whatever it is. Again, I'm just sprinkling a bunch of seeds in each section, and later on I will probably split them apart, or because they are chives, I may not, to be quite honest, because you're not looking for them to bulb anyway on the chives. For the other onions, or the true onions, my bulbing onions, I will be splitting apart. So that's something to take note of as well. But I am handling the initial seed starting of all of them with the broadcasting of a bunch of seeds per cell, and then I'll split later. I may go back later on and do some soil blocks of just some particular seeds now that I'm thinking about it, that I know have probably reached their shelf life. But we'll see. And when I say shelf life, speak Karen, um, onion seeds are probably one of the only seeds that you won't be able to utilize after a certain amount of time. They don't last that long. So after about a year or two, they are no longer viable, meaning they won't germinate. You may get 1 out of 50, which is not really what we're looking for. So use your seeds early. Next up, now that we've got the chives done, we're gonna do some artichokes. You'll see them coming up in a second. The pack that I'm grabbing on the side, artichokes. This is my first year actually growing them. I like them, but originally I was like, I don't need artichokes. I don't eat them that often. But the flowers themselves are amazing. This is one crop that'll keep coming year after year. You planted once, you won't have to replant these again for I think about 20 years, the way asparagus is. So I figured why not add them to the backyard as a source. I like them. If you notice, these seeds are a little bit bigger than the onion seeds. So I did use my divot and I put a little tiny hole that's about double the size of the seed, and I'm dropping them in there. One seed per cell. You can do two, I've seen, and there are times that I will do one or two just in case one doesn't germinate. I haven't wasted time waiting for that cell to populate. However, this time I'm only doing one per. The one thing I will say about this is that artichokes, from my research, artichokes kind of like this process of cold stratification, meaning they like to be triggered to germinate. You'll see there are a lot of plants like that, and I'll talk about this in a later video. But there are a lot of plants that are like this. So I want you to take this with a grain of salt. I'm doing artichokes, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to set the tray outside on my back porch. It's cold enough, and I'm going to let them stratify for about 2 to 3 weeks. Then I'll bring them back in to germinate those cells. I should have better germination. An alternative is to just put this in your refrigerator, the seed pack, and then let it rock out like that. That's an option. I forgot to do it this time around, and I figured since I already started seeding them, I might as well go ahead and finish it and just plop them outside. We got snow, and I'll show you. You can see. So this is what we're doing. And what I'll do rest of the video, I'm gonna go through shallots, leeks. Um, I have red onions, yellow onions, and white onion varieties, short days, that I'm going to plant and seed the same way I did the garlic chives and onion chives. So I'll speed up that portion, and then we'll be done. just chiming back in really quick. Here are the finished products with the humidity domes on there. You do this so that you can keep the top layer moist, and it helps the seeds sprout better. If you don't have domes, you can clearly use, like I did for the outside seeds, some type of cellophane, whatever, plastic, whatever you got. Right here, I'm just showing you that I also keep the lights on for about 12 hours. They're on timers, and you can see the moisture that's on the dome. That's going to help the seeds germinate even better. Be blessed. Take care. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Till next time.